Great, thank you. So welcome everyone to our online offer holder day. My name is Kavita Datta. I'm the head of school and I'm a professor in development geography. And I'm very pleased to be joined by one of our student ambassadors, Jasmine Sennett, who's on our BA Geography with a Year Abroad, and will be able to talk to you from the student perspective. We're aiming to talk for about 20 to 25 minutes, telling you various things about the school and the way that it runs and its composition, etc. And then we'll have some time at the end for a Q&A session. The easiest way of doing this on this platform is just to drop your questions in the under the Q&A tab, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. So please feel free to put your questions there, and we'll deal with them at the end of the session. So I wanted to start with a brief sort of introduction to our school and really to rehearse the reasons why you should choose or why you should come to the School of Geography at Queen Mary. The first, and probably the one that you're all aware of course, is that Queen Mary is part of the Russell Group University Group, which are essentially a coalition of universities which are very research intensive. It's a school that is marked by excellence, both in terms of the research that we do and in the teaching that we do. So how do you recognize our excellence? Across the country, there is a research excellence framework exercise that takes place every 4 to 5 years. And in the last one, we call it REF. So in REF of 2021, the School of Geography was in the top 10 geography departments in this country in terms of our research outputs, which are publications. And this research excellence feeds into our teaching. We're a research-led teaching department, so the teaching that you receive is informed by the research that we do as academics. We're a school that places a great deal of emphasis, and we very much value a positive and good student experience. We put in quite a lot of effort and resource into student support and student engagement, which I'll talk to you about in a little while. You come to university to get a good job, and graduate employability after a geography degree is good. And our students go on to work in various parts of the economy, in the private sector, in the civil service, in global institutions like the UN, in media institutions, as well in third sector organizations. Now, if you are also looking at London universities, one of the advantages that we have is that we have the largest residential campus in London. And you're, of course, on an online event, but if you have an opportunity to come and visit our campus, I think you'll find it to be a really welcoming space, but also a really sort of stimulating space in which we interact as students and as academics. So tell you a little bit about the community that you're joining. So the School of Geography is a community of scholars and students. We are comprised of just under 600 students, the majority of whom are undergraduate students who are either on our BSc or our BA program. We have a small but growing postgraduate community as well. So we have students who come to us to do a master's course, and this is typically for 1 year. But we also have PhD students who are with us for 3 to 4 years. In recent years, we've doubled, or in the last year, in fact, we've doubled our international student intake to 11%, and they come from 36 countries from each of the continents in the world. Our staff body is just under 50, and it's comprised of academic staff, and these are the people who will teach you, who will tutor you, who will supervise you, and professional services staff, and these are the people who do the day-to-day running of the school, if you like. Both academic staff and professional services staff have a student-facing kind of role, if you like. So we have a director of education who looks at who has oversight over our curriculum. We have a director of student experience who engages with you in various things related to your interaction and your experience in the School of Geography and in the university at large. We have a director of student support and student engagement. Within the professional services staff, we have colleagues who are supporting students through various aspects of their daily interactions with the school. We're a school that's very committed to equality, diversity, and inclusion. We're one of the most diverse geography schools in the country, and that's something that we're incredibly proud of. Our students come to us both from the East End, so from our doorstep, if you like, and like I said, also from across the world. We have a very strong commitment to EDI, which is reflected both in the research that we do. So I have colleagues like Miles Ogborn, who works on the historical geographies of enslavement, colleagues like Catherine Yusuf, who looks at the significance of race in geological times. EDI, or Equality, Diversity, Inclusion at universities, is measured through a process known as Athena Swan, and we're very proud to have a bronze award in Athena Swan. One of the things that also makes us always reflective of our commitment to equality, diversity, and inclusion is our staff makeup. So in academic terms, we have slightly more female professors than male professors, and that's actually something that's not that common in geography departments. So I wanted to tell you a little bit and briefly about the research that we do in the School of Geography, as this is what you will sort of encounter in your lectures. So if we start with human geography, and I'm just going to pick on 3 of my colleagues' work here, I could talk about all of us. But Will Monteith's work, and Will has just recently started working in Namibia on the green hydrogen rush, so looking at green energies. And his work is really interesting because it picks up on an aspect of green economies which is not necessarily the focus of attention, and that is about what does work or working in the green economy actually look like. And this is a new area of research which he's developing in a project called Global Ecologies of Work. Sydney Galkin's work on geographies of sexual and reproductive health. Sydney's just won a really prestigious research award of over £1 million. And her work has really been looking at, and over a period of time, has been looking at how people access reproductive and sexual health services, and particularly looking at abortion services in countries where abortion is deemed illegal. And so her work has been looking at an online trade in abortion pills, and really sort of interesting work that is emerging out of that. Philippa Williams is another one of our human geography academic staff, and one of her research projects is looking at social media and everyday life in India. And this is really focused on the private messaging app, WhatsApp. And her research is highlighting the stories that big tech, that states and citizens tell themselves and us about privacy. So really looking at the issue of data privacy. Moving on then to look at research that is being done by our physical geography and environmental science colleagues. I think one of the things to emphasize at the start is that climate change is a significant emphasis in the school, both in terms of our research and teaching. And so you will get to learn about both the science that is behind climate change, but also then all of the mitigation that can happen in order to counter it. And here you'll be taught by experts like Gemma Harvey and Alex Henshaw, whose work on rewilding is significant, and they're looking at rewilding in both urban and rural contexts with a view to understand how this might influence flood flows. Andy Russell, who some of you will meet later on in the day, is doing research really on the interface between climate change and policy making. And so his research contributes to developing evidence-based policy on flood resilience, on coastal erosion, and on protecting biodiversity. So this is just a really small glimpse of the wide variety of research that we do in the School of Geography. And importantly, of course, research is not just something that we do as academic staff, but it is also something that we train our students to do through the course of their undergraduate degree. So all of our undergraduate students do a dissertation in their 3rd year. And this dissertation is on a topic of their choice, which we help them to sort of arrive at, and they're supervised in their 2nd and in their 3rd year to actually develop a 10,000-word dissertation. And the very best of our dissertations we enter for national awards, and the person that you see up on the screen is one of our recent graduates who won the award for, and I think Camille's research project was on race and its influence on migrant communities and diaspora communities within the UK. So there are opportunities within the school for our students to actually also learn how to do research and to do dissertations. Field trips and fieldwork, as you might expect, are a significant component of our curriculum. In the 1st year, fieldwork or field classes are compulsory, and we take you on a range of residential and non-residential field trips. Some of these are in London, so as human geography students, you would visit, for example, the Royal Geographical Society that is located in South Kensington. All of our students will have opportunities to do field work in and around London, we do see it as a significant sort of, if you like, field destination. But we also take you a little bit further afield in the UK. So all of our students go on a field trip to Boreham Place. Those of you on physical geography, environmental science degrees go to Lake District and the Cairngorms as well. In the second and the third years, field trips become optional. So these are optional modules that you can choose to take. And the majority of our destinations, not all of them, but the majority of our destinations are international. And in this year and next year, we're running field trips to Boston, to New York, to Belfast, and to Rotterdam. So you'll have the opportunity to go on field trips while you're at the School of Geography. I wanted to then bring you on to the programs that we offer in the School of Geography. You'll all have chosen different sort of programs to apply for. We run a total of 8 undergraduate programs. Some of those are in various sort of aspects of geography. So we do a BA Geography, BSc Geography. We also then have a specialism in BA Human Geography, and that's quite important. I think we're one of the few schools, if not the only school, that has a specialism in human geography. We introduced a degree in global development last year, which has taken off really well. And this is a degree that we offer in collaboration with other schools at Queen Mary. So with the schools of politics and international relations, with the School of Languages, Linguistics and Film, and with the School of History. And this academic year, we've also introduced the global development with a year abroad. So again, this is pretty much the global development degree, but you also get the opportunity to spend a year with one of our partner organizations or universities abroad. We then have on the BSc side, we have our degrees in environmental science. And again, here, this is a specialist degree with modules from geography and the School of Biological Sciences. And then we have 2 programs that we run with the School of Business Management. And these are essentially degrees where your 3/4 of what you do is from the geography school, and a quarter is taken from the School of Business and Management. I'm going to pass over now to Jasmine so she can talk to you about her degree and give you some of the student perspective on it.
Thank you, Kavita. So yeah, I'm Jasmine. I'm a geography student ambassador, and I'll be here today with another ambassador to answer any questions you might have about studying geography from a student's perspective. So I'm on the Geography with a Year Abroad program, and I'm in my final year. So my course is 4 years, and last year I did a year abroad in Sweden at Stockholm University. And during my time at Queen Mary, I've had the opportunity to join different societies and as a member and also as part of the committee helping to run a society. Right now, I recently joined the Environmental Society, and separate from this, I'm also a Global Opportunities Ambassador, which means I provide help and advice for students who are planning to go abroad. So what is it like studying geography at Queen Mary? I would describe it as challenging, but also very rewarding. I felt that as I've gone through my studies, the essays have become more challenging, but I feel like I'm always rewarded when I can see the skills that I've learned and the knowledge that I've gained become applicable to everyday life. For example, applying for jobs or going for interviews, and just generally watching the news and having a greater understanding of what's going on in the world. I've also, I felt that you've probably heard that when you move from sixth form and secondary school to university, there's a big transition and you have to become a lot more independent in your studying, which is definitely true. But I felt that at Queen Mary, there's a lot of support from staff available. If you've got any concerns or just questions or you just need encouragement, there's always someone you can go to. And as I mentioned, there's so many opportunities at Queen Mary. So like I said, I went abroad, and Kavita mentioned the options to go on field trips throughout this your course. And I feel like one of the reasons I wanted to study at Queen Mary was just the wide range of modules that were available. And yeah, that's just a little insight into my time at Queen Mary and how much I've enjoyed it.
Great, thanks a lot, Jasmine. I'm stop sharing my slides now so that I can come back and see you, and we can take any questions that you might have at this stage. So did people have any questions? I think you might be able to unmute yourself as well, but if you prefer to put it in the Q&A, then that's fine as well. Perhaps while you're gathering your questions, one of the things I was just thinking as Jasmine was speaking is that to tell you a little bit about how we do the teaching and how we help you make that transition from school to university, because obviously it is a time that is both very exciting, transitioning from school to university, but it can also be a time that is quite anxious. About some of you will leave home and move to London or move to campus. Others of you might still be staying at home. But it is a period of transition, or of significant transition. And the way that we manage it is through having, and particularly in the first year, is that we have a tutorial system. And so you would have lectures, which are where you meet your sort of, if you meet, all of the students who join you, and we'll have roughly about 155 students joining us in any particular year. And what we then do is divide you up into tutorial groups. So these are much smaller groups, and you're in with about six to eight other students, mostly students who are from your own program. So that's how we try and sort of divide up the student body. And you would meet your tutor every week. Your tutor is an academic member of staff, so you get to know one academic member of staff really well, and they take you through, if you like, that first semester and that transition to university. So that emphasis at university to read around your degree, to read around your subject matter. They will develop or help you develop skills in learning critically. They will talk you through the process of writing essays, and guide you through the process of writing essays. So we have those small groups, which are really significant. You'll also have an advisor, and the advisor is a person, they might be your tutor, but they might be a separate person who's your advisor, and they would be the person who takes you from your first year to your third year. So again, they're an academic member of staff who you get to know really well. And they're in charge of, or the person that you would go to if you have any pastoral issues, if you have any academic issues, etc. They're your first contact person. Beyond that, and again, taking into account that, being one of 155 students can be daunting, we also have small group teaching. And so most of your lectures will be supported by seminars. And in your seminars, you might be in a group of 20 to 30 other students. And these are, again, to encourage you to both sort of, have exposure to different groups or different sets of people, but also to develop your confidence in contributing to discussions, in being part of sort of a discursive way of learning, a collaborative way of learning. So we've got various things in place there. I think it's also, the fact that we're a campus university really does help in that transition as well, because irrespective of whether you're a commuter student or you move onto campus, the fact that you're in one place as opposed to sort of just going in and out of buildings to attend a lecture, etc. The fact that we have a campus, we have places where you can eat, we have study spaces in campus, we're opening up in the School of Geography a social space as well for students, where you can hang out, where you can meet other students, and where you can grow your friendship groups and your support networks. So really, we do as much as we can in terms of assisting in that transition from school to university.
Okay, I've just seen the question. What is your favorite module you've done during your degree so far? That is a hard question because I've done lots of different modules and I've enjoyed all of them really. But I think my geographies of health, so learning about in the imperial age and health and the development of health since colonialism to now, I think that's definitely been a very insightful module for me because there's a lot that I didn't know in terms of the origins of medicine and how it came about. So yeah, I think I would say that was my favorite module.
And we would, I guess, in terms of talking about the modules, it's also to say that we have different sort of research streams in the school. So we have economy, development and social justice, health, culture, and then climate change and earth surface science. And so our curriculum maps onto that. So in any particular year, you'll have modules, and especially in the third year, when you have specialist modules, we have specialist modules on development, we have specialist modules on health, on culture, on various aspects of culture, a really strong interest in the school on historical geography modules as well. So they're spread out across sort of, if you like, geography, human and physical. Do you do much in London, either modules or visits? Yes, we do. So like I said, that we do very much see it. It might sound a little bit cliched. We do look at London as kind of our living lab. The part of London that we're situated in, Mile End, and in the East End of London, has a really, is a really fantastic place for us to do field work and research in. On the human geography side, we do, like I said, non-residential trips in and about London. We go to the one of the trips that's associated with the module that I run is to the museum. Is to museums in the East End, which are closely connected to its migration history. Like I said, we take you to the Royal Geographical Society. So there's various opportunities to do field work around London. Some of my colleagues do walks around sort of the East End of London, looking at its historical sort of histories again of migration, etc. So we do use London as our living laboratory. What kind of support is there for the transition to the world of work following graduation? We work very closely with with our careers office at Queen Mary, and we actually have somebody who is from the careers office who's linked to our school, so a careers consultant. We start working with our students on careers from year one. So that's really important, that it isn't something that you start to think about in your final year, but it's actually something that you are thinking about in the 3 years that you're with us, and that you take advantage of all of the opportunities that are available in terms of getting on internships, on developing your CV, in thinking about all of the skill sets or the skills that you're acquiring during your time at university, and how those might translate into the work or into the world of work. I think that there is also so there is really a lot of support in it and a lot of take up, and we've created actually spaces in our timetable where we bring our career consultants in, we bring alumni in, etc., to talk to you about the kinds of careers that they're doing and to develop your networks in the world of work. Jasmine, I don't know if you've got anything to add there in terms of the support you've had.
Yes, like you were saying, it kind of starts from year one. So I remember we had to do an assignment, like make a CV, and also kind of plan out what we think our career path would look like. So you kind of get that from straight away. You know that you've got to think about it as while you're doing your studies. So yeah.
I think the geography is a good first degree. It's recognized as being a good first degree because of the very many skills that it helps you develop, both in literacy and in numeracy. And these are things that we pick up on, and we try and do different things in year one, year two, and year three, so that you're transitioning to the world of work, and you're able to call upon the support of the careers office even after you've graduated. So, for example, another example that I've just thought of is also we give you training for all of the graduate training schemes that are on, and they have lots of different types of tests, etc. So support in getting onto graduate schemes as well. I think we've got time for one more question if anybody has one. What kind of jobs do geographers do after university? They do a wide variety of jobs after university. So like I said in my talk, people go into the private sector, and we've particularly into finance, and in the financial industry. People go into education, so teaching jobs that come out of geography. We've had some success in graduate schemes related to the public sector, particularly the civil service comes to mind. We have students who've gone on to work in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and in the Transport Ministry. So we've had some success there. So there really is a wide variety. Students go on to work in the third sector, so working for non-governmental organizations, which might be both local but also global. On the physical geography environmental science side, we had a really successful alumni event a few weeks ago, which was the students who'd gone on to work in the environmental sort of industries, if you like, including the Environment Agency, but also for private sector organizations that are working on the interface of climate change. And what was really interesting in that alumni event was the extent to which they were talking about the significance or the relevance of their degree to the work that they were doing. So not just the skills that they had learned, but the relevance of the content of the degree. Okay, if we don't have any further questions, we'll stop now. As you'll know, we have taster days following this session. We have a taster day both in human geography and in physical geography. So I very much hope that you're able to join one of those. And then we'll see you later on in the morning to answer any further questions that you might have. So thank you very much for joining this session. And we very much hope to see you in September of this year. Bye-bye now.